What's going on? Wake Home from Revolution here with Eleonor Picciotto. We're in Genève. It's snowing outside, but it's warm in here, and bringing the horological heat is none other than Michel Navas, co-creator of Fabrique Du Temps. And Michel Navas and Enrico Babazzini are riding an absolute high. Earlier this year, they launched two incredible watches, one by Daniel Roth and one by Gerald Genta, that showcase true haute de gamme watchmaking. And now they're becoming a palace for Métiers d'Art. And we've got some watches here that showcase exactly that. Eleonor, what do we have here?
So Michel is going to delve into the details in the presentation of this new Escale collection, but if we were to point out a little bit of some details, considering the tribute to Gaston-Louis Vuitton, which you can see inside the dial, the intricacies and detail and the amount of work that has been done in the Métiers d'Art, bringing a lot of Métiers d'Art from also outside La Fabrique du Temps in pretty much becoming the epitome of what a métier d'art generally is in watchmaking. And can you tell us about this also redesign of the Escale, adding a little bit of details from the lugs to the case to the sapphire glass that we didn't have, or at least that was very different?
Yes. What we wanted is to pay tribute to Gaston-Louis Vuitton, because Gaston-Louis Vuitton was a big collector. He was fond of the Japanese art, and these three themes are the three models of the inspiration of the tsuba. The tsuba was the guard on the swords of the samurai. He was a big collector of tsuba, and the inspiration comes from the animals we can find on the tsuba. And the three models, we have the carps, we have the snake, and we have the dragons, the water, the earth, and the fire. And of course, as you are telling, the shape is the Escale shape, the new Escale shape with the bomb bezel. Of course, here you can see the waves, the Segaya waves. You can find these Segaya waves in front of the fireworks in the Maison in Asnières. Yes, it's the inspiration again for this Japanese art. And of course, with Jean, we wanted to gather all the métiers de savoir-faire at La Fabrique du Temps, not only the watchmakers, but the dial makers, of course, the engravers, the enamel experts, and together we give rise to this magnificent piece, the Escale Métiers d'Art, in white gold, in yellow gold, and we need not only the experts in-house. We hire four experts in terms of enamel and enamel chanlevé, damassing, different techniques of enamel.
I mean, right now, if allow me to jump in, but you're very humble in detailing the amount of basically what is happening in the watch. When you look at the side, when you look at the bracelet, you were saying earlier that the way the leather has been worked is reminiscing of the handles.
Oh yes, correct. This is the handle of the katana for the samurais, and handmade, of course, in different colors for the different models. Even the movement, the O23,
which is the one that you had put in the Tambour collection.
Correct, but this one is with the different finishing with the Segaya waves engraved on the back. Look.
It's stunning. You know, Michel, walk us through each of the individual watches and the techniques that are utilized to create these incredible dials. So I believe you've got the watch with the koi fish on it. Talk to us about how this dial is created and what techniques go into there.
Yes, we use different techniques, the engraving. After we have to eat the engraving of the corpse, and after we have to put a lacquer to realize this color, the blue color, with the bomb enamel pebbles around, and the chanlevé, and of course you can see the GLV, the Gaston-Louis Vuitton signature in different, with the onyx in this model, in cornaline in this model, and the jadeite in this model. Yes, we have different techniques, different expertise, different know-how we need to make this incredible watches.
Eleonor, you were particularly impressed by the technique that's used to render the koi fish. Tell us a bit about this.
I mean, when you look at, obviously, the details, we didn't even talk about what we have on the side, which is a glimpse to what you have on the malle, the corners. But if we go back to the fish, what's very interesting is that you've got those two animals that first have been carved into the gold, then you put in the oven in order for the metal to become harder, stronger, and darker and deeper. That way it comes out of the oven, you engrave it again. This is when you put the paint and the lacquer in order to get this like beautiful blue finish that is almost this metallic blue.
Yeah.
And when you look at it, you just think, oh, it's a blue fish. But when you really delve into the amount of detailing, which is how and why you call it a métier d'art, makes it truly something.
Yes.
It's just like an artwork.
Amazing,
You just want to look at it and just see like all the details, as if every single minute when you spend even more time looking inside the dial, you discover something new.
Yeah. So that's what we wanted to represent in this piece of art. And you're right, of course, the shape of the Escale. You can see the different details of the mal, the corners of the mal here, and yes, we all the details are thought.
And I mean, if we jump into the snake one,
Yeah.
this level of métier d'art, when you look at the marqueterie inside the dial, when you look at the little monogram flower that you have inside each scale of the snake, if you don't have the proper light, you don't see that amount of detail. And it's as if you have two different watches, one in daylight and one in nighttime.
Yeah.
So Michel, tell us a little bit more about the techniques that go into this dial.
And this one is with a dial in Marqueterie, and we worked with an expert in this kind of dial with different greens, different wood. Yes, of course we have paille, we have parchemin, we have different woods to have these shades of.
So it's
green.
wood marqueterie in the base.
Yes.
Wood.
Wood, yes,
Oh, okay.
wood. Marqueterie is wood.
Yes.
Wood by I don't
Straw.
know. Yeah.
Straw.
Yes, and it's a long time to obtain these different shades of green. Yeah.
And then the snake.
And the snake, of course, is engraving first, and after we put the enamel, and we work with different experts to realize this piece. Yeah.
I realize though each of the watches is 1 out of 20 pieces. How do you create consistency from one dial to the next? Because each is in fact a pièce unique.
Yes, it's a pièce unique. Of course, we have 20 pieces, but if you compare this one with the next one, it will be some differences of
Slight
grains.
differences.
That
Cool.
makes a unique piece.
If you ever have the chance to visit LFT and you see how when they work on the dial with the enamel and they give you this like one hairbrush and it's like, yeah, do it. And you think, easy. I mean, I'm not a kid anymore. And then it's just like a big mess up. And then you take conscious of how much work and how much craftsmanship and savoir-faire is required to actually work on those pieces, let alone 20 similar ones.
And we want to gather all this material, this savoir-faire in-house, but for this dial we need the expertise of Rose Saneuil, the expert on this Marqueterie dial.
So you're both gathering competences in-house. I know, for example, even for Daniel Roth, you brought an engine turning machine inside.
Correct.
So you're doing engine turning yourself now. And now you have a Grand Feu enamel, and you have some other, I think, cloisonné as well. Do you have? Yes. But you're also using exchange with people that do marqueterie to improve the level of knowledge in La Fabrique Du Temps. What is the objective, the long-term objective of
I
this?
think that the objective, we wanted to gather all the material, the savoir-faire, all the expertise as much as we can. Yes, but for this we need another métier. But maybe one day we will gather the marqueterie, the other techniques.
It's very interesting because there's almost a little bit of a competition at the ultra high end, right? To create the best finishing, to create the best technical, to create the best métier d'art. And very quietly, it sounds like La Fabrique Du Temps and Louis Vuitton are amassing all of the best competences at the highest level. This is your strategy?
What I love is to surround myself with this métier, this savoir-faire. In this human scale company, we are almost 200 people. It's a small company, but with all these techniques, all these métiers d'art.
I mean, when you look at what you're launching now with all these Métiers d'art, Escale, and the upcoming pieces we're going to talk about, as Wei pointed out, you're bringing into light pretty much the best of what is out there and what has been created in the last decades in watchmaking and what truly defines métier d'art. Let alone if we talk about the dragon piece, where you have the damassier, as you were saying, which is this technique where you blend two metals, and it's something that we probably
Damascus. Yes, so you're making multi-levels of metal,
Yes.
And you were saying that here, the plate of the dial starts in steel, in which you're adding gold into it to
Yes, it's
carve into
different
it.
goals, different finishing of goals. And this métier, this savoir-faire, we don't have at La Fabrique du Temps. So we need Fanny Queloz. Fanny Queloz is an expert in Damascus.
When you go to these experts now and you say, hey, we would like to make a collaboration
Yeah.
with you, are they very excited? Are they receptive to working with Vuitton?
Of course, they are so excited because they know Louis Vuitton for each domain, and they know that Louis Vuitton is zero fold, is the best quality we want. And if we want to work with Fanny Queloz, she's very happy to collaborate with us and to make.
And they
this.
know that sky is the limit. Nothing is impossible.
Nothing is impossible, but.
Okay, so you guys talked about the métier d'art, but you also hinted a little bit about the new Escale case.
Yeah.
So I think this is a hint probably for this year. We might potentially see something new
Don't jinx it.
from an Escale. I'm just extrapolating here.
Yeah.
But let's talk a little bit about this case because you have some very beautiful lugs here, which are inspired by the corners of the trunk, right?
Yeah.
Talk to me about how you've taken the design language of Vuitton, which is, the foundation is the trunk, and put it into a watch in a really cool way and in a watchmaking way.
Yeah. It's to mix these two worlds, the world of the trunks and the world of high watchmaking. Yes, a few years ago when I visit La Maison in Asnières, I was so impressed by the philosophy, the techniques they had, and we decided to launch the Escale case. And this one is a revival of this Escale case with a hand finish of the legs, with the polished and the brushed. The edges for these three models are with Segaya waves and with the bombed glass on the top. It's a nice pleasure to wear this watch on the wrist.
Michel, from what I can see of the construction, the lugs are made separately from the case of the watch, right?
Yeah.
How are they attached?
I attach it with screws inside. The watch.
Okay.
Yes.
So you can still, so the exterior rivet that you see here is a decorative item.
Yes, you can unscrew and put and you can make the finishing, and after you can.
So, but what's really cool about that means you can completely finish
Yes.
the lug separately and the case separately,
Correct.
and then attach them.
Yeah.
Because I noticed a really cool mirror polished bevel just on the edge.
Yes.
Of,
Here, yes. You have the polishing on the edge, and on the top you have the satining. Yes.
He sees everything.
Every day.
well, considering I'm 55 and I actually can't see anything without my glasses. Yeah.
You were just telling me a few seconds ago that the Voyager case is your favorite case to work on. Why is that?
I love this shape because the Voyageur, I love the shape. It could be designed by Gerald Gendry. It's a little the same spirit, okay? And on the wrist, it's a real pleasure because it's very smooth and it's polished here on the and satin on the edges. I love this. This is my favorite case.
And so this one that you're introducing is the Voyager Plique-à-jour, hence to another métier d'art technique, which makes this production very limited due to the intricacy and how complicated and delicate and beautiful it is to actually make a piece like this. Can you
Tell us, what is Plique-à-jour?
Plique-à-jour, it's a technique of enamel. It's like a stained glass you can see on the church, but here we use white gold, and between the sticks of white gold we had a very transparent enamel, like to see through the watch. And here, this one, this Plique-à-jour, it's a modern stained glass with the V, of course, of Vuitton. It's a contemporary Plique-à-jour. Look.
I mean, when you look, obviously you've got the tourbillon at 6 o'clock. The way the case and the dial is built is fascinating because not only you get the exact same intensity of hues of the blue that you have in the Plique-à-jour, but you've got this slightly different blue that you have in order to read the time closer to noon. But when you look at the V shape in which the tourbillon is located, gives this like subtle balance between the two that gives very much balance and proportionate watch dial, watch case.
Take the sticker off. It looks better that way.
You almost want to lift it and you don't want to wear it on your wrist. That's how beautiful you want to see almost the skeleton of the watch.
It's like a skeleton,
Michel, tell us a little bit about the dial that we see at 12 o'clock, because it's right on top of the barrel, which is also skeletonized and transparent.
Yeah.
But you were saying it's really hard because it's actually the glass that is retaining these two hands. Is that correct?
Yes, because this little dial is made by the Plique-à-jour techniques, but we don't have arms going to the center of the hands. So it was very, very tricky to realize and to achieve this technique.
So these discs are also Plique-à-jour?
Yes.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yes.
And these Plique-à-jour discs are actually retaining the center that holds the hands.
Correct.
That's crazy.
Yes. It's very, very difficult. And the artist, the artisan, can engrave on the right side the initials. You can see the initials of the Plique-à-jour dial, as you can see on the church, because at this time they used to put their initials very discreetly in the corner of the.
I mean, when we look at this new pieces introducing this new collection, it's as if there's almost a name attached to the watch, from the artisan has been working to obviously the different people who master their own art, and you can count them on a hand in the entire world of how much they master what they do. And obviously we've got this voyageur Plique-à-jour, but if we move on to a collaboration this time, a genuine collaboration, and you don't do a lot of collaboration when we think about watches. I let Way admire this Voyager on his wrist.
Well, I was just noticing the Poinçon de Genève on here.
Of course, because inside you have the Poinçon de Genève. The first Poinçon de Genève, we got it in 2016. Yes, with a flying tourbillon and 80 hours power reserved.
Well, it's really cool to see that you can be very innovative in terms of your decorative technique, but still receive the Poinçon de Genève as well, you know? Because people think of the Poinçon de Genève as being very traditional, but you can actually be very, modern and very contemporary and have a Poinçon de Genève.
Yes, we can mix the two. Of course, the tradition with the Poinçon de Genève and the modern touch of Louis Vuitton and the dial in this Plique-à-jour with the V shape.
It's absolutely stunning. However, I believe Eleonor was about to mention that you have created a rather exceptional watch. A collaboration,
but I'm even jumping back to what you were saying, talking about modernity and innovation. That specific watch has brought a lot of headache, if I must say, but also innovation and modernity, and the fact that you've collaborated with Frank Gehry.
For those of you who speak English, it's Frank Gehry. or Frank Gehry.
Frank Gehry, I'm sorry, I said it in French. And this watch is particular for many reasons, starting with the fact that it's the first time that he's working on a complicated timepiece, let alone that it's completely made in sapphire, from the hand to the case to the crown to the lugs.
Yes, correct. This is a big challenge. And
so share with us the nightmare you've been going through to get this magnificent piece as a beautiful result.
Unburden yourself.
Yes. It's a kind of nightmare, but a real pleasure, because it's the first time we make, as you are talking about, the not only the case, but of course the dial, the crown, the legs, all is made by the crystal sapphire. And we start with a big block of crystal sapphire, 200 kilos, and we go to the heart of this crystal sapphire to obtain the pure, the more crystalline crystal sapphire. And all, as you know, only the diamond tools can cut the sapphire. And this
How
is
many tools did you break?
How many cases did you break? A lot.
Not so much, because we have the experts to this kind
So
of.
from 200 kilos, you were able to create.
Yes, and it's very, very light, and we, of course, until the art of this block of crystal sapphire. And this is a privilege to work with Mr. Gehry, Frank Gehry. Of course, you know the sculptures of the architecture of Frank Gehry, and he was in charge of the case. We were in charge of the movement, and the case, of course, were inspired by the art of Mr. Frank Gehry, the foundation of Louis Vuitton in Paris.
With the waves.
This
is what mimics what we have inside the case.
Yes, the store in Seoul, in Korea, is with this kind of waves, this kind of movements.
Yes.
And the techniques and the challenge was to obtain this unpolished and polished dial. And in the center, the dial is very, very thin. It's like a chips.
Chips. Chips.
Like a potato chip.
Like paprika vinegar? No, this is the sapphire one.
Yeah.
A little bit more expensive, I should imagine.
And of course, again, inside you have the second version of the PDG, the Poinçon Genève.
Wow.
Yes.
Amazing.
And what is it like to work with a man like Frank Gehry? Frank Gehry.
Frank Gehry, it's a real pleasure. Oh, he lives in Canada, very, very far from here, and so we had a different Zoom with him, and he was very happy because it's the first time we have a collaboration in terms of high watchmaking with Mr. Frank Gehry, and he agreed to work with us, and it's a real, we are very lucky chance.
It's interesting, and it's also a true masterpiece in the sense that a man like him, who's used to work in really like open space and volume, being able to translate exactly what he does in such a small diameter, such small proportion, and yet stay true to his DNA and signature and the work of why and how we know it's a Frank Gehry piece.
Yeah. This was the challenge, is to express the DNA of Frank Gehry in such a small room. And that's why all the case, the crystal sapphire dial, all is in crystal sapphire to make this transparency in this watch. Yes.
And you've got the signature at the back.
Amazing. I want to ask one last question, if I may. So Michel, I notice that you and Enrico have now so much more energy. You guys seem so excited, so happy. You're always smiling. Well, how come?
Yes, because of course we are all watchmakers, but to work with Jean Arnaud, it's a real pleasure because it's passionate about high watchmaking, and we make this kind of adventure. It's a real pleasure. And now, of course, we are reviving 2 other brands, and for Enrico and I, it's a chance, it's an adventure, it's a pleasure to of course, we are 10 years younger today.
Well, I mean,
they got themselves a new youth.
Since he's not here, let's talk about him. You know, I actually have to agree with you. Doing my introduction at the Louis Vuitton Watch Prize for Creative Independence, I had wanted to introduce Jean based on what he had achieved in such a short period of time, you know? What he did for changing the perception of Vuitton with an all-new Tambour, which you're wearing on your wrist, which is genuinely an incredibly original and very well executed integrated bracelet sport chic watch with total integrity on every level, design, movement, everything like that was incredible. What he did also through collaborations with independent watchmakers like our friend Rick Zeppi, you know, was remarkable as well. What he did with the Watch Prize to identify the next generation of talent. And you can see when Raoul Pages won and he took the stage, he was crying, you know? But I have to say, maybe the best thing that he's done is create an empowerment for you and Enrico to create Daniel Roth and Gerald Genta. I remember when you guys showed me this watch, I was blown away by the finishing. You said, "Wait, this is the finishing that we want." When watchmakers look at the watch, they will say "Bravo," because it's not finishing that shouts at you. It's like finishing that you have to understand watchmaking to understand how hard it is to execute that. You know, and now you guys are having so much fun with the Métiers d'Art and with all the creations at La Fabrique Du Temps. I mean, what's the future for you? How long will you stay here? How long will you keep working? I hope forever.
One thing I love, of course, is my passion. Is the passion of Enrico, and I discover now is the passion of Jean Arnaud. But what we want is not only to work with and surround ourselves with these techniques, with all these métiers, but we want to share. We want to every day long. We use time to share our passion to the new generations. Of course, you mentioned the watch prize, but even at La Fabrique Du Temps, each morning we talk with our watchmakers, with our dial makers, and we share and we discuss about our passion, and that's what we do with Jean. And
I have a suggestion. It's okay. First, you must never retire because you guys are brilliant. Second of all, but that's not my suggestion. My suggestion is the following. So Raoul Pages won the award, and of course he will benefit from working with you, working with Vuitton. But there was 2 young men that when they were on stage, I asked them a question. If you were to win the prize, in what way would you benefit? This is Gaël Peterman and Florian Badat. And they said, we would love to work with Michel and Enrico because these guys are people we really respect and we would love this opportunity. So even if they didn't win the prize, you should just give them a call. I have their phone number. I'll pass it to you.
It's called a bouteille à la mer in France.
And if you make something really cool, you gotta let me know in terms of allocation because it'd be cool. Okay, anyway, And Eleonor, any last words you'd like to share with us in terms of the Métiers?
Actually, I would like to speak very briefly about the two new Vivian that are coming out.
Oh, I know. Sorry. Yeah.
Because I know we're less talking about men and collaboration, but we're still very much into high watchmaking, not only because the Vivian is the mascot at Louis Vuitton, and it's something what we like to play with. We like to see where she travels. You have glimpses here and there of the mascot as it is. But you're introducing two new pieces, which are jumping hours. There's always some sort of mechanical enhancement. There's always some sort of complication that is not a hand, hour, and minute inside a case with an LV sign. It's always like the playfulness of going just one step ahead into what is halfway watch complication in a feminine timepiece. So now let's talk about the new Tambour Vivian jumping hours, which are, when you just look at them, they're very much inspired by Japan. Again. One specifically, which is almost like the Hello Kitty Vivian side of things, where she's got the ombrelle, she's got the... Please tell us about those watches.
Yeah, this is the Tambour Slim Vivian. We have two other themes. We launched a few years ago, 3 different themes: the casino, the circus, and the fortune teller. And these are 2 different themes. One of them is the little mascot Vivian becoming astronaut.
That's cool. I really like that.
With an aventurine dial, and the same system, of course, with 2 windows, the jumping hours, and the hours comes from the right window to the left window, and the little hand, the almost transparent hands, is rotating 1 revolution per hour, and it displays the minutes. And this is the first theme in this white gold Tambour Slim automatic movement. And the other theme is the Japanese season, the sakura.
The sakura with the flowers that you can see throughout the case.
Yes, of course.
The dial.
With the little Vivian here, and the little flowers here, the blossom, the sakura season in this white gold, and with the rose bracelet. 2 other themes of the mascot of Louis Vuitton, the Vivian.
Excellent. Well, Michel, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for
Eleonor?
the time, the presentation.
Always a pleasure.
Likewise.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.